welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jen, and my channel Life, Love, and Puppy Paws focuses on lifestyle content around motherhood, homemaking, and home decor. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I monthly meal plan, and I'm also going to be sharing with you what meals we're making for my family for the month of October. I started monthly meal planning about a year ago, and I was doing really well up until the pandemic hit, and so I'm trying to get back on track. I found that for me, monthly meal planning took a little bit of extra time at the beginning of the month to just plan out all of my meals for the month, but I was still saving a ton of time throughout the week because everything was already planned out for me. My grocery lists were practically planned out for me as well. And so even though it took a little bit more time up front, the time throughout the month, like doing my weekly grocery shopping, I just saved a ton of time. I also found that I was saving a bunch of money because we were actually planning out our meals and following those plans and not eating out as much. So even though it does take a little bit of prep, that's prep that happens over once a month versus each week. So I do think there's a lot of efficiencies in doing that as well. I do have a lot of flexibility that I incorporate into my meal plan as well. I always have a lot of backup meal options and just, making sure there's some flexibility, because we all know that even though, a great plan is always the best way to go, a lot of times life gets in the way and things change, and then your plan ends up needing to change. So I definitely, even though I'm planning for the month, I do make room for flexibility. So to get started, what I wanted to share with you was all of the tools that I use when I do monthly meal planning. So this right here is actually my kind of meal planning kit. I got this organizer from Staples. I believe it's still available, even though I've had mine for a couple of years now, but it's the Martha Stewart line at Staples, and I'll try to link this below as well. But I keep all of my monthly meal planning supplies in this container, and then I keep it on the bookshelf where all of my cookbooks are. So everything is all together. When I'm ready to do my monthly meal planning, I just pull this organizer out, and then all of my tools are in here. So some of the key tools that I do use, I always use, this is our family calendar. This hangs on the refrigerator, and anything that's happening for our family goes on this calendar. So any trips, doctor's appointments, any activities that are happening either in the day or in the evening, holidays, everything is on here, because when you're doing monthly meal planning, you need to take those into account. So for example, if you have a date night, you're not going to need to cook on that night, or Halloween's coming up. And I know some people are trick-or-treating, some people aren't, but either way, if you've got a fun activity planned, you don't really want to plan, maybe you don't want to plan a meal at all for that day, or you don't want to plan something that is going to take a lot of time. So on the nights where you have a lot of things going on, you'll want to plan easier meals for those. So it's always important to take a look at your calendar and see what's happening for the month, and then plan your meals around that. I also have this, this is by the Happy Planner. This is actually a recipe booklet that I got from them, and I originally intended to just save all of our family favorite recipes in here, but I'm also using this as like my meal planner organizer as well. And so I have these, and I'll share more about these later, but I have these monthly meal plan calendars that I put together. So this is where I actually plan out all of my meals on this calendar. So I'll write what's happening for the month, what's happening throughout the month on the calendar, and then I'll fill in our meals so I can look at it and just see what else planned out for the month. So I do that step, and then I also have this weekly meal plan tablet that I got from, I believe the brand is Rifle Paper Company. I think I got this off of Amazon. I'll link it below as well, or a similar one if this isn't available. But then this is my weekly meal plan document. So once I fill out my monthly meal plan, I'll go in and I'll fill out these sheets. And I'll do one for each week to show these are all the meals for the week. And then I'll write out the shopping list, the ingredients for each of these meals. So when I go to do my shopping for that week, I'll pull up the page for that week, and I'll see, okay, I have these meals already planned out. These are the ingredients that I need specific for those. So then I'll need to either go check my pantry and see if we already have those ingredients, or I would add them to my grocery list. So I've already kind of got my grocery list planned out based off of those meals. It's just a matter of, do we already have those ingredients on hand, as well as adding in any of the other things like milk or fresh produce or just snacks, those kind of things that we need as well. So that really helps when you're planning out your weekly grocery list. To get recipe inspiration, I get it from a variety of different places, but I love cookbooks. The Magnolia Table Cookbook, which I know a lot of everyone loves, that's been kind of my go-to. I've got both volumes. I've got a ton of other cookbooks as well. I also love to pick up the Food Network magazine. This is the one for October, and so I was looking through this the other night and just finding a lot of it's nice to get more seasonal meals, so that way you can see kind of what's in season. There's a lot of fun Halloween stuff, so I want to start incorporating that in for the month of October just to celebrate for our family. But I go through a lot of my cookbooks, or I go through my magazines. I've also got a board on Pinterest. I go through recipes on Pinterest, and then I save them to a monthly meal planning board, and I'll show that to you here in a second. But I will create an October monthly meal planning board, and so any of the recipes that are on Pinterest that I've assigned for the month of October, I will save in that board. So when I go to cook for that night, I know that I don't have to go searching for where the recipes are on Pinterest. I go just to that specific October board, and then I can see all the recipes for that month, and I can quickly pull up that recipe and use it. If I am doing a recipe that's in a cookbook or a magazine, I always make a note next to, I know this isn't filled out, but say this was this sweet potato soup with cheesy croutons from this magazine. I would write that on the page for this Monday, and then I'd put a little note, Food Network October magazine, page 26 or whatever page it's on. So I'll put notes like that on this page as well, so I know how to quickly get to those recipes.
Here is my Pinterest board, and as I mentioned, I created an October 2020 meal plan board. And so what I've done is I've saved all of the meals that I've planned for October. And so I did pull a lot of meals from the Food Network magazine, and those were available on Pinterest, so they're saved here as well. And so these are all of the meals I'm planning on cooking for the month of October, and so this is a quick way to access those recipes without having to hunt them down on Pinterest.
Just chatting real quick about flexibility. So some of the things that I do is I have a lot of backup meal options that can be pulled out of the freezer or can be quickly made on those nights where things just don't go exactly as planned. So maybe I had to work a little bit of overtime, or maybe, we thought we were going to have plans and now we're not going to have plans, and I don't have a meal already planned. So some of the items, some of the kind of quick meals that I like to have on hand are, we always have a frozen pizza. That's always a quick thing to just throw in the oven, and in 15 minutes you have a meal. I like to get those like P.F. Chang's. There's like the General Tso's chicken and the orange chicken. It's like a frozen meal that comes in a bag, and you just put it in a pot on the stove and heat it up. And then we'll also make either some rice or quinoa to eat with that as well. And then we also get the frozen egg rolls. And so it's kind of nice just to have like a Chinese takeout, but that you're making. So that's always an easy thing that I have in the freezer. We can use at any time. Grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup are another backup option. We always have bread and some cheese, and I like to get that already made bacon that you can put it in the microwave and heat it up, but basically we just put it in the middle of we'll layer the bread and then a piece of cheese and then some bacon and then another piece of cheese on top of that and then the bread. And so you just pan fry those on the stove, on the stove top, and you've got a quick meal within 5 minutes. Some of the other things that I've done, just stop off at the grocery store and get a rotisserie chicken. You can also get that Bob Evans microwavable mashed potatoes. And so a lot of times we'll do a rotisserie chicken with the Bob Evans mashed potatoes, and then I will either, microwave some green beans, either frozen or canned green beans or peas or carrots or something. And so that's a quick way to have a side as well. So it's always good to have some of those things on hand, because like I said, you never know when things are going to change, or maybe you're just not in the mood to make the meal that you had planned for that night. Always having some of these backup options. I mean, even if it's just peanut butter and jelly, right? Like having those kind of things on hand. For my son, sometimes he doesn't want to eat what we are eating. And sometimes, my husband and I want a little bit more grown-up food that's not necessarily toddler friendly. So we always have, I get from Costco those big bags of chicken nuggets and fish sticks. We always have peanut butter and jelly on hand. I get those mac and cheese cups, the individual cups. So I have those kind of things on hand as well. So if my son is struggling with what we're making for dinner and not eating it, I've got some of those other backup options that can be quickly heated up for him as well. So I think in addition to just planning out your meals for the month, it's always good to just have those kind of backup meal options always available, either in your freezer or in your pantry. So that way, if things do get crazy, you've got a quick way to make an alternate meal. Because when we don't have those, like the first thing I do is order pizza, or we go get takeout, and then you're spending more money, and they're not always the healthiest options. So definitely make sure that when you're doing your meal planning, you're also thinking about those options as well, and making sure that those are also stocked up on for future needs. So to get started, here is my monthly meal plan for October. And so these are the little sheets that I have for my planner. I will end up cutting them out and punching the holes right before I put them in my planner, but this is what they look like when I print them out. And so I've added here the date or the month October 2020, and then I added in the dates. And then as you will see, I only typically plan out meals on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and then I typically will make enough to have leftovers for the next day. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday typically are leftover days. I didn't put a ton of personal information on here, but I did mark down that the 31st was Halloween. So I would do something similar to that when I show any of the activities that's going on throughout the month. I just didn't want to share a bunch of personal information, but I will share all of my meals over on my blog, so that way you can see those. And I will also link over to my Pinterest. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is typically on Sunday, I have kind of like a theme. So typically on Sundays, those are a little bit more complex recipes because I have more time to make those. I also sometimes like to do Super Sundays. So a lot of times I'll do soup on Sundays, especially if I'm going to be working from home the rest of the week. Or that following week, that gives me, I usually eat the soup for lunch throughout the week. So I'll make like an extra large batch. Tuesdays, we typically do like Taco Tuesdays. So Tuesdays, I typically have some sort of Mexican type meal. And so I've got like steak bowls. On this, the week on the 6th, I've got a sheet pan Mexican meal. I've got a casserole, and then doing cheesy gordito tacos. And a lot of times I'll do salad as our side when we do Mexican night. And then Thursdays, I typically try to do easier meals. So a lot of times I'll do sheet pan meals, or just things that don't take a ton of time to cook. And again, it depends on if I'm working from home that week or if I'm in the office, if I think I can do a more complex meal on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or if I need to have a simpler meal for that particular day. And then here is my weekly meal planning sheet. So you'll see that I've added the meals to the days that we're going to be eating them, and then I added over here to the shopping list. These are the ingredients for that meal. Some of the things that I don't include, we have tons of spices on hand, so I don't typically include any spices unless I'm pretty certain that we're out of them. I don't include things like butter or eggs or just those staple pantry items that I know that we're going to always have on hand. So these are just the ones that I'm pretty certain I'm either going to need to search to see if I have in my pantry, or I'm going to need to purchase from the grocery store. So this is the beginning of my grocery list for this week, and I will develop a page for each week in October, and then that way I can just flip. I haven't developed the others yet, but I will do that, and then that way each week when I go to do my grocery shopping, I will just flip through this pad and see what ingredients are needed for that week. And last but not least, I did develop an October meal plan printable. I thought this would be fun to put on a refrigerator and just show what we're eating each week. And I made it a fun Halloween theme. So I will place this on my blog. That way, if you wanted to download this and use this meal plan for the month of October, you can. As I mentioned, all of the recipes are on Pinterest, so I will also link those as well. And then that way, if you are looking for a simple meal plan, all you need to do is download download this printable and go check out my Pinterest board and save those recipes, and you will be good to go for the month of October. So that is just a high level overview of how I monthly meal plan. So I do want to start sharing more of these. So if you're interested in seeing more about, what our meal plans are each month, or having me go into a deeper level on how I do the planning, I'm actually thinking about making some tweaks to my recipe binder or planner here. I haven't found a lot of meal planning pages for this, and it's nice because it's got these little circles or these little discs here, you can like pull the pages out and add pages to it. I actually purchased a hole puncher specific for this binder, so that way I can make more of those monthly recipe calendars. I can add in other pages, just so I can really customize this. And I am thinking about doing an overhaul on this and adding some more things to it just to help me more with my meal planning. So if you'd be interested in a video specific to that, where I walk through my binder and how I'm planning on doing a little meal planner makeover, let me know in the comments below. If you do use a happy planner for your meal planning and you have come across any printables or any pages that work out really well, definitely let me know, because I just wasn't finding a lot of things already created that just were specific to meal planning, and so I've been making my own, but I'm all about being efficient, so if there's something already created, I definitely am open to seeing that. But let me know in the comments below if you are interested in seeing more videos like this, and what types of information you want me to share, and I definitely will be sharing some more here soon. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day.